your hands together, Mr. Mark Rayworth. Good evening, everybody. How are you all today? Good. Those of you heard about portals or know about portals already? Yeah. So I've been interested in this subject for a long time, since a young boy. Since a young boy, I've been interested in this. But lots of experiences, lots of stuff happened, and it wasn't until later on in my life. It's like Top of the Pops, you know.
Sing us a song, Mark.
As long as Jimmy Savile doesn't have it.
Do you want that light on or off?
Sorry, actually. Anyways, it's a subject of mine, and through looking at our environment, buildings, and reasons why hills are the shapes that they are, I don't believe they're just hills, a lot of them. I believe there's some sort of structure or something involved, whether it be a vortex of energy, which is spiraling the hill upwards. You can always tell when you know what you're looking at. Same with buildings and churches and the like, geometric buildings.
Just because the light is blinding. Is that better?
Yeah.
Back to see Mark. Blinding in instead.
Yeah, especially buildings and stuff like that, and it seems there's been a chunk of history which we've kind of lost. So we don't understand the function of these buildings, what they're still doing, why there are shapes, particularly churches, the geometric symbols on the front, why they're there. Are they just pretty? Are they just, you know, some architect has just done a pretty stained glass? I don't think so. So I'm going to cover a little bit of that tonight, overview the lot, and then I'm going to move down into three different kind of portals, basically, which I think still operate. So I'm going to try and cover our doorstep, basically, as much as I can, and the ones that surround us. As most of you probably know, this is Kilway Hill in Swansea, and to me, is a major portal. Many sightings at this place over the years, including one when I was 20 years of age, going to work. I used to work in Macro over Lansamlet, and 7 o'clock in the morning, there was a silver ball above the towers there. And I'm driving, staring at it. But when I'm looking at it, there are planes going towards it. So I get to work, and I'm excited, because I've always been into UFOs, and I'm telling everybody there, I see the silver ball of Kilway Hill, which we can see from the car park. And as usual, you just get laughed at, don't you? But later on that day, some guys came in from BP Darcy, and his wife was working in the canteen there. And they told her that they saw a silver ball flying over BP Darcy at 7 o'clock in the morning, around that time. So they all came up and see me then. I was on the meat department up there years ago. And they came up and see me, and we just shared our experience. So I think this place happens all the time, but I think only when these television masts are kind of torn down or switched down, because I think they are messing with the frequency of that hill. I had, on my escapades around that hill, I had some really great images, and there's a stone circle in the forest off to the side. The interesting thing is, with my phone, I sent it off to be repaired, and this is the God's honest truth. It came back with all the pictures of Kilway Hill removed, and the pictures of the tunnels going into it. So, there's a stone circle over the side, and then opposite Morrison's, there's a tunnel which goes directly into Kilway Hill, and it looks clean. There's a mine next to it, which is obviously, it's half full. You can still see down it. It's half full. and this tunnel goes right up. We went up as far as we could, and I took pictures all the way up. But I think this place, I think, was full of some sort of precious metal at one point, which I think was mined or quarried out. And this is how these places work. I think the precious metals vibrate with a frequency which feeds the whole area, which opens up a portal, which obviously some people know how to still use, or some beings know how to still use. But that's a very, very interesting place, and it's right on our doorstep. So it's well worth a look, because some of the stones there don't look like they're part of the hill. That's the only way I can explain it. So it's very interesting. And looking back at the history of Kilvale, there was a cave network that used to run through it. I can't find that now. This is on the side of it, there's a steel door, which is kind of seals something off, but apparently you used to be able to walk straight through the centre of that hill. So obviously there's something going on in there. And the other rumour is, which we've been told, is that there's a military facility in there where they used to, which Mike knows about, they used to store artillery and equipment. So quite possibly that stuff is still there, but there's reasons why they put that kind of thing in places like this. And I don't think it's just the military equipment and stuff like that. I think that's just a cover. So let's move on to the next one. That's Kilvale again. It's down towards the left is where the stone circle is. And I stumbled on it accidentally. Just got lost up there in the trees, and I seen the stone circle. Pretty amazing. I was wondering if it was to do with the earthworks, but checking on the internet, there's 2 stone circles on Kilvale. One I can't find, and that one is still there, obviously. Just well worth a look if you go up there.
I think the other one was on the top, or just off to the left a bit.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Again, you can always tell. Let's have a look at that. As big as the hill is, there's always like a path that will go around, kind of spiral around with some of these hills. And it shows that the energy in this place is travelling anti-clockwise. But obviously it's been here many years. There's a good look at it. You can see off to the right that it kind of curves around. So this one, probably most of you know. This is the top of Garth Mountain. A major portal, still active. And as far as I'm aware, still inhabited by military people, or mobile phone mast kind of people. Just turn up. I've got a friend that lives facing the mountain, so he feeds back information all the time. But again, major energy centre. You've got the burial mounds here, which, again, I don't think are burial mounds. Again, when you look into the history, they're caverns, and they deal with the different equinoxes throughout the year. So different kind of energies will go in there, and obviously, people used to go in there for healing. People used to go in there for straight teleporting to different areas. And people used to go in there to transport stuff. People were going there to die, basically, because they believed they'd be transported from these places, just like the pyramids. So there's a lot of interest with burial mounds. There you go. That's the biggest one. I think there's 4 on Garth, which I'll show in a minute. 4 burial mounds, but this is the one with the trig point on top, which is more prominent. With this place, back in 2016, January 2016, we took part in a ritual up here to open the place. And instinctively, one of the guys with us asked for permission from the ancestors to go up there and do what we wanted to do. And which was very interesting, because looking into portals and the rituals involved with portals now, everybody seems to know that there's a ritual involved, which going back then, I didn't really know. So one of the guys with us asked permission, we done it, and I'm not saying this is the cause, but the month later is where the whole Penturk thing happened, which is on the same grounds. That night as well, we saw a gold orb travel across the sky after we finished the ritual. There's the side of it as well, the right side, looking from Penturk kind of area. So you've got the face there. And you've got the road that will walk around. So from an aerial view, again, you're probably going to see the spiral. And I think there'll be an anti-clockwise vortex, again, or energy centre. Again, this is looking at it from a different hill. And it almost looks like a face on the side. But I think these places kind of hum and resonate. I think just like the pyramids, they give off a frequency. And I think what dampens the frequency at the minute is the amount of earth that's over the top of it. But that's another subject altogether. Yeah, with this one you can see 3 of the burial mounds. You can see 4 actually. You can see the big one, the one behind it to the right, and the other 2 as well. So there's 4 on there, and all will be given a different frequency. What's interesting about Garth is, inside Garth is the magnetic metal hematite, which got mined out. Again, why it got mined out, I have had theories, but this is how places like this work. And that magnetic material would have helped in opening that portal. This is a burial mound, or a chamber, or a hand chamber, whichever we want to call them. And this is what I think all of them look like. You can enter all of them. They didn't used to have the grass over them. There would be holes in the walls to catch the light coming in from the different equinoxes, which again would transport people to different places with the right sine wave or device or whatever they used. So this is what I think the inside of most of them look. And another one again. So there's the sketch of the burial mounds. The biggest one is called Tumuli, and I can't pronounce the others. So if you can see them, make you wind up on them. But there's 4 up on Garth Mountain. So it's a major place. And as I say, to this day, still sightings up there, still really good sightings of Garth. Now this is Penturk. And I believe it was the fields at the back there, would I be right? That we kind of mapped the energy centres.
Yeah.
Bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah. Just down there, I went to map out the field which the sighting was in back in February 2016. And I expected to find a stone circle. But what we found was different. There was avenues of energy centres, and they were all travelling clockwise and anti-clockwise. So the main field where the pyramid came through, that field was full of energy centres and a ley line, and then a ley line running right the way across down there. But these, down the bottom here, it's like the farmer had removed the stones from the field and dumped them down with the stream. So I think when you look around that field, some of the stones are still scattered over the sides and at the top. But they were definitely deliberately removed. But this avenue runs into another field as well, and possibly a third field. So this whole place, this whole area is huge. And at one point I can imagine it being a major place.
Those stones are in a stone circle?
I think those stones were part of the avenue. because we couldn't find a circle when we were up there.
Bit like Karnak.
Yeah. Anybody recognise this one? Again, on our doorstep. This one is in Risca, in Newport. And that's the one, yeah. Tumbalum. I see this nearly every day. And this mound here is huge, this burial mound. But the whole place is fantastic. And again, I've not looked into this place very much, but what's interesting is what I have looked into. This place lines up with the Pleiades, and it's very rare for a place like this to line up. So, back in the day, people with their flint tools and stuff were able to align things with so much accuracy, and yet they needed flint tools. So I don't buy that. These are the steps going up onto the mound. So obviously it's going to be a fantastic view up there. But again, a very strong energy centre. And this is the view from Newport city centre, looking up at it. So you can see how big this mound was. So some major ritual and major teleportation and whatever else they used it for took place here. And I believe that the Phoenicians and the Templars back in the day travelled through places like this. I think it was a normal thing for them to do. But again, that history's been lost. I don't know if any of you have heard of the Tartarian era, which has been lost. Any of you? It's like a history that's been buried. The Tartarians, it was a race of giant beings, and they were in Europe. And they built a lot of mega structures, but in their records, which it's not even a conspiracy, if you Google them, Tartarians, it's all there, Wikipedia, pictures of them, everything. And they report mud floods, which covered most of the world. So they say most of the places they had was buried, and obviously at some point they got buried too. So it's very interesting. So this is Megalithic portal. I don't know if any of you have been on it. And it's interesting because it's a little write up on Tumbalum. So whatever. Long before mining took place on the hillsides of Minute Mine, the bulge at the end of the range, Tumbalum, was utilised to fix times of the year. It was very distinct and far-reaching calendrical associations. The sighting effects here are over quite a distance, nearly 13 miles. What is seen is an association with the Pleiades in 2500 BC. And with Grey Hill, north of Major in Wentwood, the steep hill overlooking the eastern side of Wentwood Reservoir. While the Pleiades were observed by numerous cultures in the northern hemisphere, what we see on the ground here is the South Gwent. In the South Gwent appears to be unique. And the other one goes on, which I highlighted. Once more, between 600 and 700 years after the Romans left these shores, the Normans utilised the mound at the end of the hill range. In the intervening period between Bronze Age and that of the Normans, a small bank and ditch had been added to the raised area of Tumbalum. It seems that the Norman nobility took advantage of this and utilised it as the contained area of a bailey that was part of the moat on Bailey Castle at the top. The moat being the tup, or the pimple. There was now a further sighting spot on the hill, the pimple, and this moat was indeed utilised in this manner, a visible assistant in the setting out of further moats. Which is kind of interesting. And particularly the alignment to the Pleiades. Because you know, with kind of the pyramids and their lines of Orion and stuff like that, and you get to wonder, how are these places aligned up there? How are they able to do that? Which gets you thinking. which gets me thinking outside the box. So I'm not quite thinking what I've been taught. I'm thinking of alternative realities, alternative perceptions, to try and see if anything fits, basically. So I have got a crazy kind of theory, but it's just a theory. I will share it with you in a minute. So, moving on from that, we've got the microcosm portals then, and the churches. And to me, each church gives the address, or the sine wave address, or the sound address on the front every single time. It looks pretty, you know, just above the door. You've got the geometric shape. Up in the concave of the roof, you've got the geometric shape, and across the walls at the top, and the pillars. Again, you always see this one turn up. That kind of shape. And what I think happens is when these places were flowing, and the bells were ringing, and the bells would vibrate the whole building. These buildings are acoustically built for a purpose, including the towers. The bells would ring, open the portal. The people would come in, they would pray, and within the praying, they would send their intent to all three realms, wherever it was going, and then they would close it and leave. And I believe then what they'd done was they were feeding the gods involved with that ritual, because it is a ritual. But it's different address every time. So we're dealing with the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual realms. And I think when we kind of open it, we ring the bells, we start a ritual, we've linked in with all three. Linked in with all three realms. Then we can start dealing with the nature spirits and the guys involved to come in and help. Again, the art of ritual has been lost. The depth of knowledge has been lost from doing this. So a lot of the time, even going to church, people don't really know what they're doing, they don't really understand, and they don't really notice the way these places are built. These places are living entities, and above them are thought forms. Every time you go in there and you pray, you feed the thought form, which encases the whole building within the spiritual realm and the mental plane. And again, when you manipulate those two realms, you manipulate the physical realm as well, which is why you can get stuff happening through prayer, or through magic, through ritual. This is why this stuff works, and this is why, again, why this stuff is lost. So again, it's part of a loss of our history. Again, you've got the tower, the whole place, it looks like a whistle, some sort of, flute. And that's exactly the way that this place will operate. It will open up, and whatever hymn or whatever's been played on the organ will tackle a different vibration, a different frequency address, and will open up. And again, repeating again, those nature spirits will come in and will do your bidding and do what you want. But most of the time these days, it's a one-way avenue where we do the ritual, we give them the power, but we take nothing for ourselves. At the end, we should be sending the energy and the healing out to different parts of this globe, and that's the way it used to work. But all that has been lost, so it only goes to one place now. Again, the more complex the design, the more high the frequency is. The sine wave is very high. That is probably up in its thousands. So they'll start from kind of 400 megahertz And you'll have your simple designs, like the one in the middle. But as the sine wave and the frequency and the vibration of the place gets higher, you get stuff like that. And that stuff holds our solidity together of our realm. Even more, so I would suggest that these are higher level places, and they probably attain to higher level things, higher level ritual. So I've no doubt that this still goes on. And a fascinating one. And again, the glass. It's fantastic with the colours. That's pretty complex, that one. Very, very complex. I would not put too many pictures of churches. Boring all to death. Again, this is another one. It's like the flower of life. It just keeps going on and on. And again, it's a high-end sine wave. By the way, the top of the tower, it represents the pineal gland. So, when these places were built, they knew exactly what they were doing. But as I said, these places are living entities. They're not just buildings. You walk in through the vagina at the front and straight into the living body. That's the way they're designed. This one's fascinating. Again, the pineal glands up at the top. And the cross in the middle, the address, or addresses, and the different sine waves. Somebody knows which sine waves to play at the same time. I'll share something with you that I've not shared before with anybody. And it's one of the reasons why I'm very much interested in this subject, and one of the reasons why I know these realms exist. I was at a place some time back, and there was stuff going on. And before I knew it, and this is the truth, I was staring at three reptilian type beings that were about 10 foot away from me. Two of them had their backs turned to me, and one of them was staring straight into my eyes. Before they turned up, there was orbs going across the floor with tails on and just scattering in no particular direction. So this is another thing that sparked my interest with knowing how these realms exist and knowing how easy that they can come through anytime, any place, anywhere where they see fit, or anywhere where there's the right setting for them to come through. And they take part, and they interact with us, and they'll do stuff for us, we'll do stuff for them. That's the way it works. So I just thought I'd share that with you. That's the truthful thing that happened to me. The description of them was they had like a kind of frog's mouths, right? And I hope this don't discredit me right now. Leave off the boil. They had frog's mouths. Their heads went up into almost a cone, and their eyes were snake-like, and they were thick-set, and it looked like they didn't have any necks. Very thick-set. Their skin was white, and they had brown patches on their skin, and they had tails. And it was very simple. It was very simple. It was a split second for them to do that. So again, I think they come in and out when they want, whether we believe it or not. They're just doing it. They're coming in and out. So, and this wasn't a dream state thing. This wasn't an astral thing. This sighting, I've had many sightings, but this one was with my own physical eyes. I saw them. So I'll just leave you with that one. I hope that sparks a bit of interest. anyhow, you kind of get the gist of those shapes. And Steve just shared an interesting one now. He said there's a church where Templars used to inhabit, and these shapes were all around the church, apart from there was a couple missing. And I would suggest that that's the missing link to the address to teleport out of these places. So, you know, there's lots of pictures, and probably lots of you have come across them on the internet, and you see Egyptians with the handbag, or you see the Incas with a handbag, and in the other hand they'll have the ankh. And, you know, I think these were the devices they used to use. And the vibration would pierce down into the ground. The precious metal would vibrate, would power the whole area. Every single standing stone, an area and vortex that was needed to trigger off at those times would trigger off, and they would just bloop, and they'd be gone to the next place. And it's interesting as well because there's evidence of Knights Templar and Phoenicians and the Welsh being in America 1500 years before Columbus got there. And there's evidence to prove that. There's Welsh writing on some of the stones in Arizona, which is very interesting. And we've got a unique country here and a unique place. So I don't think anywhere, apart from Korea and stuff like that, has got a place with so many standing stones and megalithic areas. So definitely there was this place where we're living is a hub for this kind of thing to happen. And we've just forgotten how to use it. And not just forgotten how to use it. Maybe it's been erased and kept from us, and we're not shown that info anymore. Because I think from a young age, there's a kind of an unfair advantage where they can get hold of us and they can teach us this reality, this three-dimensional existence, and that is our whole perception for growing up and deciphering our reality. So we see things quite closed in effect. And it's like, what if we were born and we were told from birth, well, not from birth because we won't be able to talk, would we, but from being in school, and we were taught that the moon in the sky wasn't a solid object, it was just a hole for catching souls. What if we were taught that? We'd grow up thinking that that would be what it is, and we'd grow up thinking and perceiving that object as a whole and not a solid object. So I'm kind of on the fence with everything to do with that and to do with what we've been taught. Definitely to do with our senses, because we're not taught anything to do with empathy in school and stuff like that that can really get us places and connect us with each other. We're not taught none of that stuff. We're taught to be slaves. We're taught to do things that will put us in a position where we can slot in to society and do what they want us to do, and do the jobs they want us to do. So there's a whole new perception, without going too far down the conspiracy side, there's another perception, and being as we are creators, we have the power to bring that reality into existence and change things and change our belief systems and build new networks and paradigms in our minds. So this is not, this is not a new thing. And when you speak to a lot of other people, you see, anybody will agree probably that you see a lot of people waking up these days. You can talk to them and they're all on some sort of level and they all have some sort of information which they can share. And again, the internet has been really important for getting that through. And for us remembering what we are as humans, and as humans connecting with our souls, and realizing it's just a spacesuit we're wearing. And we are the avatars of our source energy and existence. So it's connecting with that is important. And I don't think it's a case of run out and go look for that information, or get your head down. I think it's just happening naturally. I think people are just coming across this stuff. And I think frequency levels in our minds are naturally coming up. Whether you believe it or not, at some point, you will look into something. And you will elevate yourself a little bit. And you will learn a little bit more. It just happens. And everybody goes at their own level. There's no fast or slow level. It's a marathon, as they say. So this is what I'm noticing, and it's really interesting watching it happen. So, this is my bizarre theory. From me, kind of, and my friends will know the stuff I come up with sometimes. I think I turn them off me. But my bizarre thinking. This is a view, an aerial view of nighttime, obviously, on Earth, be it from a plane or a drone or how this pic's taken. What would that look like to you? Yeah, who just said that? Yeah, that's right. It looks like you're looking up at the sky and you're looking down. It looks like you're looking down at the stars. You know, it's another aerial image. This is definitely from a plane. So it really does look like you're looking, well, you can obviously perceive that as looking up even.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking at some sort of nebula, some sort of exploded star or galaxy, but it's not, that's planet Earth, or realm Earth, or whatever you want to call it, whatever fits with your perception at this time. But again, this apparently is from the space station. Again, it just looks like you're looking up at the sky, except, you know, looking out at the space station, it's kind of, you realise. Obviously it's Britain, Europe, and again you've got the bright stars, which I call them now, the lesser stars. And when you're in a place with no light pollution, you know, when you look up at the stars, there's a blanket of them. There's stars behind the stars, and you can just see a sheet of them. And there's so many, you don't just see Orion, and you don't just see the plough, you see what's going on behind it. When you're in that kind of place. So that's the sky. It's not much difference, is it? And I'm not trying to, this is just a theory, I'm not trying to, say this is it. This is just my crazy mind. I'm sharing my crazy mind with you guys. And see what you think. Again, like that exploded nebula Earth pic. You know, it's not so much different, is it? And in ancient texts, particularly Hermeticism, and a lot of other religions, Hinduism, as above, so below, which we come on to. I think it means more than just the words we're taught. This is not any of me and my friends' mind, this is a pic off the internet, which I found, which is not good. But again, if you was to perceive that, if all of you done a meditation now, and in the guided meditation, I was telling you, you have to perceive the sky as a land, blah, 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 blah. A lot of you probably will come onto it and see that as solid land, a solid place. Another pic. So, as above, so below. Anybody looked into that? Anybody seen the teachings? And apparently there is a mirror universe, a mirror to ours, which all the ancients knew about. And the same, this information's out there if you want to go and look, if it interests you. But I think the words mean more than myth, like we've been led to believe. And I think when the mind is right, you start to see it. It really unfolds. So this was Hermes Trismegistus, who was the reincarnation of Thoth. As above, so below, as within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. So really, it's a possibility that we are just mirroring everything to do with this realm. We are mini universes. We have the 7 heavenly bodies inside of us. These heavenly bodies reflect the 7 heavenly bodies outside of us. And so on, and it's never ending. The macrocosm, microcosm, and it just goes on, and it's quite fractal. And where's the way out? Maybe the way out is mastery and finding how to utilize it. So, this led me on to kind of third kind of portal, which when we look at portals, we look outwards, we look at the hills and the churches which I've pointed out, and we never look at the obvious. And for me, a lot of these places really are back engineered from us. I mean, telepathy, we've got mobile phones, levitation, where there is, records of levitation, even to this day. You have planes, helicopters. To me, it seems like it's an outward extension. This reality is projection of ourselves. Quite possibly, we could be walking around within our own minds, within our own matter. So this would explain kind of how we create things and how we resonate things and synchronicities and bringing stuff closer to ourselves from just thinking, because we're in our own minds anyway, in my theory. It might be a bit for some people that you might be thinking I'm crazy at this point. So, astral projection, subject I'm very interested in, and it's something I do regular. Astral project, a lot of mornings, I'm out fully conscious and walking different places. I won't say realms, because I can't say I've recognised anywhere particularly like explained in the Bible, the mansions and all this, I've not seen anything like that yet, and maybe that's because of my frequency and where I am, that when I project out, that I go into similar places. But from my experience, these places are exactly the same as standing here now, the ones I go to. It's different realms, it's fractal universes, parallel selves, everything to do with that. And on the weekend I was talking to a friend who's an expert, and he teaches this kind of thing in London. And he's running through a couple of things, a couple of ideas. I recently had an out-of-body experience where I couldn't get back. And I was in a place, I was on some sort of university complex, and I'm looking around, and at first I'm excited, because I know, and I'm fully conscious. So I'm looking around, and I pull this girl, this Chinese girl, and I say, "Where am I?" And she's getting freaked out and looking at me kind of stupid. And she said, "You're in the Cologne Bone Marrow Research Facility," on this particular one. So, all right, okay. At that point, it's so real, and it's no different to being here. You're wondering how you're going to get back. And this started crossing my mind. And when that crosses your mind, you can get yourself into a little panic, because you're trying to work out a way, how the hell do I get back where I'm from? So I sat down, I went down the running field, this place had a running track. I went down the running field, and I looked for a mobile phone in my pocket, knowing in my mind that it's not going to be there. I'm not going to have a phone here. And then money. And then I'm thinking, where am I going to go from here? I got nothing here. How am I going to present myself? So it was kind of a good experience, but pretty startling, that one, because I've never got concerned with being able to get back before. I've always had a look around, gone along with it, spoke to people, and then you just come back. But what brought me back on this one was the sound of my daughter's voice, which, again, coming back from this one, I sense myself coming from up under the bed. And sometimes you will crunch down from the top and not align properly. So I felt myself coming up, and I was back in the room, as they say. But after doing that one, if I closed my eyes, I was going back to another place very quickly again. So it was like as if I had attuned at that point. So in the end, I wouldn't close my eyes because I didn't want to go no more. I didn't want to travel, so I went downstairs. I just made a cup of coffee, and then obviously that passed. So I'm talking to a friend of mine, because the amount of these kind of experiences you have, sometimes you can have the experience where you're out and you're in your room, and I think that's proper astral projection, where your spirit body's out and you can travel around, you can look at things, you can go into next door's house if you want, although I've not done that yet. But it's interesting to see what you're inhabiting when you're out in these other realms. Your multi-dimensional self, your parallel version of yourself. Because I don't believe there's such thing as dreaming, right? It's through having these experiences, I think, when you go to bed at night, and again, this is not how it is, this is just my experience, sharing with you, sharing my crazy thoughts with you. I think our consciousness flits around different versions of ourselves. And you know when you're unconscious dreaming, and there's always a kind of familiarity to it when you become conscious, when you wake up. I was there with these people, and they were familiar to me, but not familiar, and I was going along with it. So you're in the unconscious version, and then you flit into another dream. Always a familiarity, sometimes. Does anybody else, do you understand what I'm saying? Does anybody else experience that?
Yeah.
So that led me on to the idea that I don't think we dream. I think we visit parallel versions of ourselves. And then I spoke to my friend, which some of you know, is Todd Agamesis in London. And he said, think quantum leap. Because sometimes we inhabit the parallel versions of ourselves. Which I know, because sometimes when you look at your arms, they can be older. I've looked in the mirror, I've even taken my clothes off over there. I'm being in a total stranger's house, I'm being caught. That's how bizarre it is, because when you're there, you're just fascinated by everything. So that is a form of teleportation, which I think is more important than anything, because that is a faculty which all of us possess, and all of us have the ability to do with practice, and if we want to, and if we want to wake up in our dreams, we can do that. We can travel. I've watched many things over there. I've watched, I've had animals come up to me. I've watched people in cars just driving as normal, not realizing you're observing them from where. And these lives go on in these different realms, in these fractal places. So when you look into that, and then you look at what's out here, and you look at the setup, and you look at the hills, and you look at the way the energy centers operate out here, and you look at the way the churches operate, then you correlate it all together, and you think, really, it's all connected, it's all a polarity of one another. And maybe it would take the both for this kind of thing to work. So, very interesting, very, very interesting. So this is the Egyptian belief in astral travel. This is one of the pictures, one of the old pic, actually, of papyrus. And they believe or perceive themselves as getting out of the body and traveling that way. Which was a known thing there, because in the sarcophaguses, they used to draw on the side of what they wanted to take over into the astral realms with them. Including, you know, some of them would cut the genitals off and, you know, or have it removed for them because they thought they were taking it over, which they probably were. They probably were, because they will project back. So, ancient Egyptians were well acquainted with this form of soul travel or astral voyage. They referred to the astral body as ka, and produced images of the astral body hovering just over or beyond the real body. Often it was depicted as translucent, airy and haloed. They were so fascinated by it that they experimented with many methods of controlling it in order to visit one of the planes of time and space while a physical body stayed behind. Anybody seen the film John Carter? Anybody seen that? Amazing film. Not many of you seen it. Oh, I suggest you go and watch it. Because somebody has got the info, has made the film, and it's a Disney film. And this is where he finds one of the controllers, or you want to call them the archons, which a lot of people have talked about. He's managed to kill one, and this is like in the cowboy setting, and he's got this device, and this device transports him from a cave. Again, it looks like it's Arizona or something like that, right over to Mars. But because his frequency is different over there, he's got superpowers on Mars. So he can jump really high, and he's got super strength, and there's all different beings. It's a really great film. I'm surprised there wasn't a sequel, but that kind of explains a lot, that film. So this is kind of some experiences of people having out-of-body experiences and their accounts of it. You never forget it when it happens, and it will happen to you, to me, to everybody. It's the process. It's a secret locked away in our programming, waiting to be awoken. Time slows, the light changes, everything becomes really brightly coloured, you know, like high definition coloured. It's like when you wake up in there, everything just takes form and it comes alive. And the air becomes viscous like water. Not experienced that. You buzz with electricity when the separation occurs. Fear, excitement, and then exhilaration overwhelm you. As you soak up every millisecond of it. It's real, it's all bloody real. You turn around to see your body sleeping and lying on the bed. My first out of body was in a dentist chair when I was 7, up in Cliffs. Never forget it, Dr. Stairs. Scared the life out of me. 4 nurses held me down, and he had the gas mask over my face. I popped out of my body and watched him taking my teeth out while sitting on the end of the bed. That was pure fear that got me out. That was the first one. You don't need that where you're going. The atmosphere dances and shimmers around you. This is meant to be impossible. You're not meant to be here. You smile, tilt your head, and launch yourself into the sky. In a blur of speed, clouds embrace you. The once held beliefs, games, and fears of the world no longer sway you. You will never see life the same way again. You've experienced you, the real you, the divine you. You've awoken, and you've gotten more full superpowers. You know? But it's really interesting when you speak to others who have the same, the same things happen, because the experiences are the same. They're just the same. This is when it's a kind of heavy out-of-body experience, or teleportation, or whatever you call it. Wake me up. It was pointless. My body was out for the count. Again, when your body's too tired, it doesn't work as well. You will go and you'll come back and it won't be good. And if your mind's not in the right place, again, it will just destroy the whole experience. There is more life in a rock formation, Helplessly, I stared at the bubble-like texture of the ceiling. I knew I was in the land of death. I knew that now. I was in a place where I wasn't meant to be. It was the ultimate unknown. I was beyond the veil, on the other side. Hollywood and religious conditioning invaded my thoughts, reminding me I was alone, or even worse, that I would be dealing with devils, tricksters, demons, or hell's spawn. Again, to do with our programming and movies and what they teach us, our perception goes over there with us. So if we believe stuff like that, then it's possible that you will bump into stuff like that through your fear. Fear gripped me like a seizure. This was the last thing I wanted to see right now. Like a liquid shadow, the figure hovered like a cloud above me. It was fear made manifest, looking like a witch doctor having a bad hair day. The strange being wore a beaked mask with a lining of feathers. I didn't want to look at it, but I had no choice. My eyes were locked open. The worst case about to become real as my feathery friend decided to float down to have a closer look at me. Great, I can't shut my eyes, and now it wants to give me a close-up of his ugly mug. Get away from me. Shit. I thought acting like a 5-year-old losing a game of Kissy Tracy. Kiss Tracy. Slowly it floated down towards me. And that's an experience which, again, I think comes from your own mind. If you're in that mindset, it's not the right. It's probably like having a trip, isn't it? Yeah. I'm now in the right frame of mind. You know, you can have a bad trip. You know. So, this is a good site. It's Soul 2.0. It's a lot of different people's experiences, which I just read from there. But there's a list of questions on here, which I found very good, which I'll share with you all. Best time to practice astral travel projection is at the mornings. Every one of mine happens in the morning, after my night's sleep is gone. That's the way it happens. If you do it at night, you're usually tired from daily activities, so you can fall asleep. When you become an experienced astral traveler, you can do it every time you like. I'm not there yet. Always know what you want to do, where you want to go, or whom you want to meet before you astral project. Again, my experiences are random, so I randomly end up over there at the minute. So obviously, maybe some of you are, I don't know. Not in a position where I can get out at will and go wherever I want at the moment. Before astral projecting, do your protection measures. Imagine yourself in sort of a white or golden light. Similar light to be in a bubble. The white and golden light will give you divine protection and nobody can penetrate it. I don't know about that, if I'm being honest. It's not something I do again. I think it's, to be honest with you, I think it's a perception. And again, if you're perceiving that you need to be protected, then you're going to do it. And maybe possibly attract scenarios like that. Remove all jewellery. Okay. As preparation process for astral protection, work on developing your inner energy system, chakras, learn about them and meditate, visualizing each one blooming. Okay. Remove all jewellery, wristwatches and similar before astral projection. Wear light clothing. Now I have a theory that if you've got this stuff on, you could end up with that stuff over there. So I don't see, what can be wrong with that. Choose a technique that is most suitable. In the beginning, some of the techniques may not work for you. Try another one until you find the one that works for you. Never allow your fear to overwhelm you, which is the last one I had. Whatever happens, keep your mind calm and stay in control of your thoughts, emotions and acts. Fear is opposite to love. If you're under pressure of fear, there's a bigger possibility to visit the lower astral. If you rise your vibrations of unconditional love, you will visit higher astral where amazing world sights and beings exist. Make sure nothing to disturb you while you attempt to perform astral travel. Even a weak outside noise may disturb you and cause a failed attempt. You cannot perform astral projection with daylight around you, darken your room, but keep it from being total darkness. I don't believe that one's true, because a lot has happened to me in the daylight. Read books and other materials on astral travelling. A personal experience of an experienced traveller may help you to learn many useful things about this phenomenon, which again, when you're reading or looking into stuff like that, you are creating new paradigms in your mind, so you are bringing that experience closer to you. It's as simple as that. You're just downloading the information there to allow yourself to have that experience. So, yeah, I believe that one. Understand that the astral plane fulfills desires and fantasies. Everything you wish may become reality while you are there. So be careful what you wish, possibly. When you achieve your first astral projection, stay in the room for the first 10 minutes in order to learn to command your astral body flying. After that, explore your neighbourhood. Do not take long distances immediately. I haven't done that yet, I haven't experienced that yet, so I don't know. These sound like hardened people. Use strong mental commands when you want to achieve something in the astral plane. For example, go to the moon. To the moon now. In a matter of seconds, you will be there. Again, my friend in London put a post out about trying to get to the moon for some reason. He can never get there, and he can't understand why. So, I don't know, maybe these have achieved it. Also make sure you use very... Also make sure you say very precise commands. If you, for instance, say, I want to travel to the past in my childhood, it is not enough. You have to ask for a specific period, date, or event. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I think all these experiences are personal to yourself, and I think you develop your own kind of system for getting out there. When you're in the astral realm, you cannot communicate with people in the physical world, which I believe the vibrational level of these two dimensions is different. It, however, may happen in very rare occasions when a person from the physical world has some paranormal activities. I've been in the realms, or the mirror, or whichever you want to call it, and I've watched a friend siliconing part of a floor. When I've gone down his house, he siliconed the part of the floor I saw, but in a different colour silicone. And I think it was the mirror version of this realm, and that version wasn't actually him. But the two versions of ourselves are interacting together. One is leading the other, I think. But again, that's open to beliefs and different theories. You can only go on what you've experienced yourself. Anybody else have these experiences while I ramble on?
Yeah.
Yeah? At the back as well? Good ones? Hmm? Yeah? Are you conscious when you're over there? Or can you control it? Yeah? Or are you just observing? Because sometimes you just observe. Oh man, amazing. That's amazing. I'll be interested to throw a few questions after with him. Alright. The ultimate form of teleportation. Free. Free. We're going rid of the spacesuit. One day we will. You can travel everywhere, to different planets, worlds, galaxies. Your power of desire may create new worlds for you. You cannot change the past or future. Do not interfere with the Creator's will. 18. Remember that there is no real danger. If you are faced with some unpleasant event or inhabitant of the astral plane, you can immediately return to your physical body. I've come across not so nice beings and entities there, but I haven't been able to immediately return to my physical body. So I just didn't do with the whole process, which I think is kind of, experience building. After some time, your Astral guide or guides will appear. First, make sure it is a real guide. You will just feel it. Be very grateful to your guide. Show deepest respect and obey his recommendations and teachings. Again, I've not come across that.